that's me on fire. This is just one of many stunts I need to master in order to be a qualified stunt performer. Now, if you're not familiar with the stunt industry, I'm sure you weren't aware of this, or how hard we work to become good at what we do. Stunt performers are widely unrecognized within our own industry, as well as to our own audiences. So in this video, I want to explore why stunt performers are unrecognized in our industry, how the industry has changed, and what you as an audience can do about it. I got into the stunt industry around 2 years ago. I believe with my love of filmmaking and my black belt in Hapkido, it was a sensible path to go down in life. But this isn't necessarily the only way someone can get into the stunt industry. For instance, my stunt coordinator Ray had a path in life completely different to mine.
I started off as a professional dancer, acrobat, gymnast, and I was a martial artist at the age of 14, 15. So my fighting skills and my dancing skills and my body control was quite high. And then once I entered into the stunt industry, I adapted really quick. My skill level was much more better than most stunt performers that were already in the industry. And that's how I started, you know. Within 6 months of training, I got my first job on a film set. And the rest is history, so yeah.
For me to be a qualified stunt performer, it's a minimum of 12 months training in developing important skills that will not only help sell the realism of a performance, but will ensure that we do it in the safest way possible. Now, these being very important qualities to become a good stunt performer, one would think that these are universal things that apply all over the world, right? Well,
it doesn't apply all over the world, only in Australia. Australia, England and New Zealand are the only countries that have a grading system. Everywhere else in the world, anybody can be a stuntman. You can come off a building site, you can come out of a gym, and you can call yourself a stuntman, but not in Australia. We have criteria, regulations, and guidelines to become a stuntman, which is good, because it means then anybody that wants to enter our industry would have to be skilled, they'd have to go through the right protocols, and they're just not cowboys.
okay, so the regulations are all over the place depending on where you are. So I wouldn't blame you for thinking that's why accidents happen. And accidents, that's what people usually associate stunt actors with. You know, on the rare occasion you do hear about stunt performers on the news, it is unfortunately because of some accident. But it's not really a regulations issue. It's more of an onset issue than anything else.
Accidents happen because when people are put under pressure, and when scheduling is being put under pressure, and when they haven't done their due diligence, when they haven't rehearsed it, when they're rushing to get the shot, it's for no other reason but that.
A good example of a stunt that can go wrong is air ratchets. Now, what an air ratchet is, it is a device that is designed to pull an actor back to simulate a high impact hit like an explosion or more commonly a superhero punch. Now, these are potentially dangerous because there is a lot of power behind them. They are also used to throw cars and whatnot on a film set. The more common risk that is associated with an air ratchet is someone accidentally pressing the detonator at the wrong time, causing people to go flying when they're not ready to. You know, that's exactly what happened with Ray Anthony on the set of Ghost Rider.
And that's exactly what happened to us on Ghost Rider with Nicolas Cage. There was 5 of us on a wire, exactly like this. Right, Nicolas Cage was here, we were all on top of him, we were beating him up, and then accidentally Bernadette pressed it, all of us went psh, through the air back into the roof when we weren't supposed to. We weren't even rolling. We were just rehearsing. But what the mistake was that the red button was on, and she was just standing there not knowing, she just kind of went boom, and boom, everyone just went, whoa!
Now, I'm not complaining by any means. As a stunt performer, you expect to get cuts and bruises every now and then. You know, it's part of our job. The problem stands is when we come on a film set and we leave losing a limb, or breaking a leg, or even losing our lives. It's not something that should be accepted at any point in anyone's career.
Bruises, cuts, you know, scrapes and that is parcel of what we do. But obviously when you end up in a wheelchair, when you're disabled, when you're dead, that obviously plays a big impact. It was much more present 20 years ago than it is now. We're very safety orientated now. The problem is someone has to be accountable on set if an accident happens now. 20 years ago, if you hurt yourself, okay, you know, it's not so bad. But it's much, much more easier than now than it was 20 years ago. At the end of the day, when they call action and they roll camera, anything can happen. But we try and mitigate, we try and control most of it. There are some things that you just can't control.
Unfortunately, the most significant accidents that were suffered by stunt performers in recent years could have been both controlled and avoided. Joe Harris died on the set of Deadpool 2, a professional motorcyclist on her first ever stunt job, dead and never brought up again. Olivia Jackson lost an arm on the set of Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, after the producers changed her fight scene to a complex motorcycle stunt, to which they only covered a fraction of her medical costs. And in my opinion, the most tragic of all, Vic Morrow and 2 child actors, decapitated and crushed to death after an explosion was set off at the wrong time, causing the plane to crash. It also didn't help that the director, John Landis, broke child labour laws in order for the children to work at night. So why hasn't this been brought up before? Well, you won't like the answer, but it is the most honest one.
I don't think producers and studios want, they don't want the audience to know who are doing the stunts. You know, like if people knew that Tom Cruise did 5% of his stunts, 95% was a stunt actor or stunt performer, they'd be a bit shocked. Same as Chris Hemsworth. It takes away that fantasy, the illusion that these heroes can do their own stunts. Well, they can't. They can't. They're just not stunt performers. And insurance won't let them do it. It's too risky. You know, if you get a lead actor that hurts himself or kills themselves, there's a huge follow-on effect to that. It would just cost them too much. Otherwise, you would give the stunt performer the recognition and give him an Academy Award or a Golden Globe Award, or now we have the World Taurus Awards. So yeah, it's getting better, but still they don't really let performers become forefront, you know, like there's not an award for them anymore.
Despite the flaws that plague the film industry's treatment of stunt actors, the stunt industry itself has come a really long way from its earlier years. Stunt actors have more say on their safety, they can say no, and we overall have a really strong work environment. But I hope if our general audience is more aware of what goes on behind the scenes, our industry would take greater care in keeping me and my friends safe. So when you watch that next big action-packed blockbuster, have a bit more appreciation for the guy that just got blown up and flown across the room. Or maybe when you're in the cinema waiting for that next big end credit scene, have a look at the names of the stunt performers and their coordinators. Because they did that just for you at the end of the day. It's good to appreciate them.